Hopefully this video will help somebody that's considering using an e-bike for outdoor activities. I use it for bow hunting. So I'm going to give it to you from a novice point of view or semi-novice point of view. In July of this year, when I first decided to use an e-bike, I did a lot of research and I bought my first one. It's now November. I actually purchased a different type of e-bike, and I'm going to go through and explain why, okay? So the first model was a scooter, okay? It's a Baku Grizzly scooter. I love it. Baku's a great company, great customer service. It has a hub drive. Hub drive is the most common e-bike motor, and they're fantastic, okay? They're quiet. They go a long way on a charge. So if you're worried about like battery life or range, or you don't want to buy one of these because you think it's going to leave you stranded in the woods, it won't, okay? You can go on several days hunting with one of these. If you're only going a mile or two in, a mile or two out, you don't have to charge it all weekend if you're like a weekend warrior like me. So it'll go all weekend, maybe 30 miles on a charge, okay, in between charges. And you could always purchase a second battery if you're going far in. So the hub drive is a great choice because it doesn't cost that much, okay, relatively doesn't cost that much, I should say, in the e-bike world. It's the cheaper or better value motor compared to the mid-drive, which is the other type. The issue with a hub drive is steep hills, okay? When you have a lot of hills, when you have terrain that's very steep, you're gonna have to get off the bike and walk it, which is okay, especially if it's holding all your stuff, okay? It has a walk along mode, and you could just power assist and walk it up the steeper hills if you just have a few spots, and you can manage that. Okay, I have some terrain to hunt, a lot of areas that have a lot of hills. So I wound out investing in a mid-drive, okay? And a mid-drive has a lot of power, okay? Mid-drive, this is a Bafang Ultra G510 750 watt. And if anybody's worried that 750 is not enough, 750 is legal on most properties that allow e-bikes. Okay, anything over that is not considered a non-powered vehicle. So anything under 750 watt in a lot of areas is considered like a regular bike. So the 750 watt, from what I understand, has the same amount of torque as a 1,000 watt mid-drive. It may not be as fast going up the hills, but I understand it's a lot easier on the cassettes. It's a lot easier on the chains. You're not going to break a chain. Okay, you're not going to break a chain like you may on a 1,000 watt. This mid-drive bike carries my weight up pretty much any hill where I could hold on to the bike, no matter how steep. If I could hang on to the bike, it'll pull me up the hill. So that's pretty good. I'm very impressed with it. And I've used it many times. So it has no gears, okay? It has no shifter, I should say. Has no derailer. It has no cassette on the back. It only has one cog on the back and one gear on the front. Okay, so if anybody has any questions or comments, please leave them below. So this particular bike is a custom-made bike. It was made by a guy that owns a bow shop that's really into building these bikes. So he uses his own proprietary frame and components. So he puts it together really well. I've used this and have had zero issue. This thing is a tank. So I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna take the camera off the tripod and walk around and explain, and hopefully if you have any questions, just leave them below. I'll answer them for you, but I'll give you some of the advantages of an e-bike, okay? You could get deep into the woods without breaking a sweat. You could carry a lot of stuff. You could carry a lot of gear without worrying about how much it weighs, because the rack is pretty much going to carry it. If you strap it down properly, I use bread ties and I use bungees to strap it to the rack. And then I put this pipe insulation on the rack to stop any rattling. So you could go deep in. There's no fumes. There's no ATV fumes. There's no oil or gas. It's quiet, okay, stealthy. And whenever you get to your spot where you're going to go, you just lay the bike on its side and deer just walk by it. I've had not one incident where a deer got spooked by the bike as of yet. So, and if you're worried about that, you could always drop the bike 100 yards from where you're going to hunt. But I pretty much leave it at the base of my tree. Wherever I have some brush or a blown down tree, I'll just lay it down there. Don't even need a tarp over it, nothing, just leave it there. And it doesn't affect anything. So it's been really fun. So let me take some close-ups and we'll finish up the video. So this is the Baku. Like I said, great company. It has front and rear suspension. It's a scooter, which I like because you could hop on and off. It has a hub drive motor. You can see I zip tied a milk crate to the back, so that'll carry my bow in. On this particular bike, because I use it on flat ground, I do strap my bow right into the milk crate. As you can see, I have that pipe insulation, those bungees. On this one, I put my tree stand on the back rack, and I'll carry the bow in a backpack. You know, I'll tie it to the back of a backpack. Okay, this I love. It has a front rack, which I use. I do put stuff in there. So you can see there's hydraulic disc brakes. Okay, these are hydraulic brakes. It runs on mineral oil. Okay, you have discs. Really no problem stopping. This has a 26-inch tire in the front, 24-inch tire in the back. All right, so now we have this billy goat here, which, by the way, both these e-bikes, I'll call them e-bikes even though one's a scooter, they're the same weight. So even though this is small, it's extremely stout and very sturdy, very well built, very strong. So this and this are actually the same weight, which is amazing. But this has 20-inch tires. I'll leave the link to this in my description here below. So this has 20-inch tires. It has no option for a front basket, so I zip tie just a bag, and what I keep in there is my bicycle lock and some repair, you know, some tools, wrenches and tools, which I recommend you bring with you in case something loosens up. I have an extra chain in there. I haven't needed it. So as you can see, it has a mid-drive motor. The motor's in the middle. Bafang Ultra G510 750 watt motor. It has no derailleur, no shifter, okay, no cassette, just one sprocket on the back, one in the front. It has a nice protection around the front sprocket, so if your foot slips off, you don't gouge your foot on the sharp sprocket. Okay, and the builder of this did work together with Pennsylvania Fish and Game to come up with a legal version. So nobody could really bust your chops if you're using this on state land in areas where you can use a bike, which a lot of areas do allow a 750 watt bike. Okay, so that's a little overview. I hope it helps somebody.
Here's some actual footage on riding on very rough terrain, rocks, mud, even steep areas. The bike looks small, and it is, and it's a low-step model. Reason being, if anything happens, if there's rough terrain or if it slides or somehow gives out, I could wind out on my feet instead of wiping out with the bike. So I really like a smaller bike for rough terrain. Even though it does look small on me, it's a lot safer. The mid-drive bike is a beast. It could motor and power just through about anything, mud, rocks, steep. Here's an overview of the e-bike on an actual hunting trip loaded down. I use the bike whenever I have steep areas. Where I don't have hills, I use the scooter. So you could see my Lone Wolf climbing stand is gear tied to the rack. And then I use an Insights Shift backpack to carry my crossbow, and it protects it from vibration. It's a really great system, makes it through anything. On flat ground, on these big farms, I prefer to use the scooter with the hub drive. I wear my tree stand on my back with the backpack bungee to it, and then keep the bow in a milk crate on the rack of the scooter. It's a really great system. Very stealthy, really quiet. Now my buddy Stan thought he would use a regular mountain bike with no power, no e-bike, just regular standard bike, and it didn't work out like he thought. When he hit some soft ground for long periods, his thighs were burning, his lungs were a blast furnace. I wound out towing him with a rope all around the farms for the whole weekend. It was a lot of fun, but he now bought an e-bike, and he's going to be using an e-bike on his next trip.
Okay, if you like this video, I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe or share this video with any friends that might be interested in this topic. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.